The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Terramina, blogger of the Dragons Insider, blogger of the Inside the OAA, and blogger of the Sammy State High School Sports Blog, the Top 30 edition this week. And also we got watching us, also hearing us on ONTV and also on the local voice. I got Ian Locke here this week.
I'm back.
You're back again. You know, a lot of crazy stuff happened around week 5.
Yeah, what a week. But is that different than anything we've been following here week after week? It's just
week after week. Especially, we got a lot of talk about especially that crazy 4 overtime game at Lake Orion on Saturday night. A lot of other close games, and I want to get your thoughts on all the games that were week 5 and looking forward ahead to week 6.
I'll do my best.
Yep. Let's go from, before we talk about the crazy game, we did have a forfeit in the blue. We had Farmington and Pontiac. That game was forfeited by Pontiac because of a incident that occurred near the Pontiac High School campus. And
there was a shooting of a former student, and for precautions and
they canceled the game and
trauma and that sort of thing, they shut it down.
They shut the game down, and Farmington's getting a win, vacated win. Now they're 5-0 on the year. They're going to be tested for sure when you look at the Farmington Falcons. They do have that win against Ypsilanti Lincoln. They also have that win against they still have to play North Farmington. North Farmington's a team we've been talking about for weeks, especially the Herstein effect, the Harrison effect that's been going on there. They look impressive, especially what they did to Avondale in Auburn Hills, blowing them out 42-12.
Oh, we thought that would have been a little closer game.
I thought it was a little bit closer game. I was really disappointed how Avondale's performance was, but it also tells you how good North Farmington has been.
Yes, and their improvements.
They are getting better. Now I'm curious to see how they're going to do once they get the playoffs. Of course, we talked a couple weeks ago about where North Farmington would be in for the playoffs. They'd be in Division II. Yeah. Basically, with the inclusion of the Harrison kids, I'm a little concerned about this team with the schedule they played. They still got to play Okemos. They have to also play Farmington. That's not going to be an easy game for them. So when I look at North Farmington, the jury's still out on this team. I know they're starting to get a lot of love a little bit, especially in the state level, considering that where Herstein's been at. But when I look at this team going forward, yes, they got a ton of experience, but I'm a little concerned with this team, especially because this is a team, especially this group of seniors that have not felt playoff experience. Mm-hmm. They have not felt they just have not felt what life is being in the playoffs. And yes, they got an experienced coaching staff, but they're going to have a tough time in Division II, especially if they have to take on a team like Oak Park, who's played a far more tougher schedule than they have. And it's going to be a difficult task for North Farmington going forward. But
it's still a great story,
It
right?
is. It really is.
The surprise move, the coaching staff, all these things. And so far, they're taking the ball and running with it, pun intended.
But if you're Farmington and you're seeing all this, you're being disrespected.
You think so?
Yeah, you're being absolutely disrespected.
Well, I know one thing. Maybe not disrespected, but ready to prove them wrong.
Farmington was a team that went to the regional final a year ago.
Yes.
They got a ton of experience back. And to see North Farmington get a lot of hype, a lot of experience, a lot of hype.
The attention,
and the attention, you have not gotten that. You have the quality win right now, but North Farmington right now has more playoff points than Farmington right now, which is shocking to say the least.
So what's the difference? How many playoff points are we looking at?
77-74.
Okay.
So,
and you're saying they haven't played anybody yet?
They haven't played North Farmington is, well, besides that they played Waterford Kettering.
Okay.
And they were testing that one.
Yes.
They have not had a close game since. So I think, and Farmington, I think, is battle tested. But I'm curious to see that Week 8 game for the Farmington Cup. Yes. Farmington has to play Avondale this week. We're going to preview that in a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So a common opponent. You can see where you stack up, where you measure, right?
It's going to be interesting to see where they're at. It's going to be very interesting to see where they're at. A team we got to talk about, Ferndale. Ferndale sits at 2-3, knocked off Berkeley 22-0 at home. Ferndale's an interesting team. They sit at 2-3. They got a big one this week with Allen Park. Of course,
That's a tough one.
Allen Park, Ian, you got experience with the Jaguars, especially being from Dexter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Allen Park, we've crossed paths years ago. But they're always a tough little team. They make the playoffs every once in a while, but they usually have a solid base of kids out there. So there's no gimme there. I mean, are they on the road?
They are at Allen Park. It's going to be on grass.
At Allen Park, and they draw the crowd, and the community comes out for that team like no other. So
Allen Park sits at 3-2. They've lost their last 2 games by a combined 2 points. They lost to Trenton by a point, and then they lost to Brownstown Woodhaven by a point. So this Jaguar team, no easy game for the Eagles.
No.
And when you look at Ferndale's schedule, they still got to play Avondale, and they got to play Birmingham Detroit Country Day.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an easy slate for Eric Royal's team.
And you start adding up the wins, going, where do we have a win in there?
It's going to be a tough task. You've played both Farmington schools. I think that loss to Seaham's absolutely killing them right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is the game they have to have. And
yeah, the margin of error is shrinking quickly.
It has shrunk really, really down. And now let's talk about another team, Royal Oak.
Come on.
If this team does not have Earl Weaver on that team, this is basically a doormat team. And the reason why I say that is because they trailed Southgate Anderson 19-0 for 3 quarters until Weaver goes off. He had 26 carries, 191 yards, and both scores.
Wow.
So if this team does not have Earl Weaver, that team's not very good.
But they do.
They do. But
and
it hasn't.
So you don't see it as, hey, they fought back. They didn't give up. It's a 19-0. They came back and started fighting.
They started battling.
But
where was this effort for the first 3 quarters?
Well, maybe 19-0. The other side of their opponent was sitting there going, hey, maybe we got this in the bag. You think they let off the pedal? So
I don't know if they did or not. I mean,
Coach woke them up.
Ray McMahon, I guess he woke
them up, talked to them, they battled.
But still, I mean,
that's what you ask for, right? Keep battling no matter the score.
Now Royal Oak sits at 1-4. Their homecomings this week.
Yeah, who they playing?
North Farmington.
Oh, that's gonna be a tough one.
It'll be a tough one. I know they have an interesting cheer. They have an interesting cheer to go pump that Raven spirit up. That's going to be tested this week.
Yeah, well, they're going to need it.
They're going to need it.
But also, don't you see this as a good, a test not only for Royal Oak, but North Farmington coming in to get prepped. Could they be overlooking? Because they got
they got Okemos next week, and then they got to play Farmington.
Right? Could they be overlooking?
Maybe.
We've seen it before.
I know we have.
It's not something I'd prescribe for them because they got the new coaching regime in there.
Yeah, with John Hursting there, yeah.
It'd be difficult to say, that's the case.
But then again, that former Harrison staff, they're going to basically have that team take it one game at a time.
Absolutely.
That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it when I've read the Detroit news article, the prep notes. The atmosphere there is much different now. And that says a lot where that program's at.
Yeah.
So that's going to be just really interesting.
Oh, keep an eye on that one to see what happens.
We'll preview that game. Let's go from the white now. Recapping those games. The Stony Creek Cougars.
Yeah.
This team, they fought with Oak Park. The score says 20-7 on it, but they were up 7-6 heading in the third quarter. So when I look at Stony Creek, year 1 to year 2, this team's been really improved.
Yeah.
Really improved.
To hold Oak Park defensively?
We know what Oak Park's got.
Yes.
They got a ton of athletes, a ton of them. And also they got a guy named Malik Carr at wide receiver. They got Frank Black at quarterback.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a game, heck of an effort by Stony Creek. Now they sit at 3-2. Their schedule's tough. They got to play Oxford this week on Oxford's homecoming at the Blue Turf. Then you still have to play Groves
Mm.
And then they have to play Adams. And then they got Rochester. You know what I mean? So when you look at Stony Creek
could take down Oxford. I
they
think.
could.
I know we're previewing the games later, but you're looking ahead. You start adding up. Go, how many do they need to get in?
They
5?
need at least 6.
6.
But when I look at the quality of win Stony Creek has, right now, they don't really have that quality win yet.
The Oak Park would have been huge.
Oak Park would have been huge. It would have caused shockwaves around the state had they would have done that. But when I look at Stony Creek, they got a quarterback in Ryan Ecka. He is very good, along with Zach Dunna. But their line is proving me wrong. I had concerns about this line hanging in the previous show. I had very much concerns. And when you look at this team now, I think Stony Creek is built for the future. They're built. I said they could win 5 games.
Yeah.
They could. Now, the Adams game could be a little tricky. But I could see Oxford. I think they're going to give Groves a battle. I really do. And then I can see Rochester being a win.
Yes. Does that close out their season?
Adams closes out their season.
With Adams does. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I love where the Stony Creek team's at. But then look at the other side of things. Oak Park. Are they taking it lightly, considering that they feel like they don't have the inferior comp? They do
have inferior competition ahead of them. Is that the?
Do they? I mean, like when you look at their mindset,
Well,
I know Coach Greg Carr doesn't think that.
Yes.
But the teams they still play, they can beat pretty handily.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that they do still have to play. I mean, they don't really have that much to test left. You know what I mean, in the white, and they close out the year with Oxford. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Oak Park runs the table. It would not surprise me.
Yeah, and we've talked about other teams, too. It's like when you're playing from the lead, right?
Yeah.
In the standings, or your performance has been so solid all year, and you look at who's coming up.
And the big win against Groves says a lot.
They start adding up the wins before they hike the ball.
Right. That's dangerous.
You could run into problems.
That's dangerous.
This season, I don't think that's going to be the case.
No. But, speaking of also Oak Park, Groves also came off with a big win against Troy Athens, 43-10. Groves was seen as Oak Park's toughest challenger.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're starting to gel. They're starting to roll again. They still got to play Seaholm. That's going to be an interesting match of Week 8, Battle of Birmingham.
Yeah.
And they still got to play Stony Creek. So, Groves, they got to beat this.
Yeah, they have to be on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially with the emergence of Stony Creek, I think that's...
Well, also Seaholm, too.
Well, Seaholm, but for me, Stony Creek, I'm really interested in see what happens with those guys.
I'm curious to see what Nick Merlo does with that team.
Yeah.
Now we got to talk about the 3 other teams about it. Troy Athens is a very interesting one. They've lost 3 straight since the 2-0 start.
Yeah, that's tough.
But I trust Billy Keenest with that system over there. I do trust him with that. The teams we really got to talk about, and we got to talk this game. Rochester and Troy.
Yeah. So you call it the pillow fight of the week.
Yep. And
I thought it was going to be close, like 27, 21,
21,
something like that. Yeah.
And then I looked at the stats here, and you look at 37-0 Rochester. 37-0.
Yeah, I thought it was they were more evenly matched coming in.
Well, defensively coming in the game, Rochester allowed 197 points.
Yeah.
Was coming in one of the worst in the OA.
And that's what I did not see a shutout coming.
I did not see it coming. It's a big win for Rochester because
Absolutely.
Especially with the schedule they still got to play. They got Troy Athens in a huge one this week.
Yeah.
Then they got to go to Lake Orion.
Yeah, on homecoming.
And they got Stony Creek coming there,
yeah,
which is the return of Nick Merlo to Rochester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Big win for Rochester, though.
Yeah, good for them. They showed up. They played hard. They put points on the board.
They put points on the board. That's the difference.
But the defense pitched a shutout.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's got to be a great confidence booster for those guys. You hope they can carry it over to the next week.
It'll be tough.
It's going to be tough. I don't know if it's going to happen.
It's a winnable game for them. They got Troy Athens.
Yes.
It's a winnable game.
Yes.
And then we got to talk Troy.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they didn't score at all against Rochester.
They have not scored a point at all this
season. Yeah.
And they've allowed 194 points, which is the 4th most in the OAA.
Which is shocking.
That's the 4th most.
The only thing I can think of with that stat line is that the running clock shortened the games.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's the only reason they're not leading the category?
That's the only reason why they're not leading the category.
Think?
Yeah, that's the only reason. I mean, you're seeing teams give up 60.
Yes.
You're seeing teams give up
40s and 50s.
40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Been crazy.
Yeah.
Been really crazy. Let's talk Seaholm a little bit here.
Okay.
A little bit too. Seaholm played Adams on Adams' homecoming. Adams won 17-6.
Ooh.
We're gonna talk
a little
Adams.
tighter.
We're gonna talk Adams in a minute here because Adams the last 2 games has not been the same since that Lake Orion game. Seaholm, to see him only score 6 points is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Because they were putting high 30s on people. And now they got to play Oak Park and Groves in a span of 2 weeks. And then they got to close out the year with Avondale. That's a tough road for Seaholm.
Yeah, and their offense with Adams.
They run the same offense, severe offense.
Well, then it's a familiar. The defense knows that offense. For Adams knows that, right? There's familiarity there.
Right.
So we talked about that too. You get 2 teams running the same thing.
Severe.
Yes. And if you're going against somebody that is running it and you practice against it, it's easier to coach against it if you know it.
Yeah.
Right? And it looks like that's what happened. Right?
That's what happened.
Adams' defense came to play.
Adams' defense the last 2 weeks since the Lake Orion disaster has only allowed 13 points.
Playing well.
But
where did the offense go?
I don't know.
Where did Adams' offense go? Because
they got an experienced team. When you look at, you got Anthony Vitrino there, you got a freshman and Parker Pico there, you got Carter Ferris, that's a 3-year starting quarterback. I mean, where has this offense gone for Adams?
Yeah.
Where's this offense gone?
And they were scoring in bunches.
It put 60 on Rochester the first week.
Yeah.
And
the Lake Orion game was a tight affair.
They put 31 on. They put 31 on both Lake Orion and Oxford.
That was a back-and-forth game.
Yeah. So Adams got to find their offense quick. Seaholm, they got to find their offense quick.
Yes.
They got Oak Park this week in the Maple Forest.
Mm-hmm.
We'll preview that one. Let's look at a team that's really been red hot, and that's Southfield A&T.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 weeks, they put up, they've outscored their opponents 122-32.
Wow.
That's insane. Yes, we talked about A&T's experience, but they put up 60 on Bloomfield Hills, at Bloomfield Hills.
Wow.
And they put up 62 at Troy Athens. So they've been doing this on the road.
Yeah.
So when I look at A&T, are they back or they still have to prove somebody?
Like what woke them up? Do you think?
Well, in the last 2 games, the 2 games against Lake Orion and West Bloomfield, they scored 15 total points.
Yeah.
15 total points. And then, but they allowed 45 points in those prior 2 games before the recent 2.
Yeah.
But when you look at A&T, people are going to say the competition that they played. You kind of look at that.
It could be.
Most likely is.
Yes.
Until they get back into league play, where are we going to judge A&T? Because they still got to play River Rouge. That's going to be a very tough game for them. Oxford could be a trap game for them, and they still got to play Adams. So when you look at A&T, the jury's still out on the Warriors. It really is.
Yeah, I agree. But the potential's there. If the opponent coming in thinking, well, A&T, hey, they're limping along a little bit. Don't think that.
Don't think that.
Because they could light you up quick if you're not.
Well, especially when you have the athletes like they do with
absolutely.
Anthony Ross, Chris Fitzpatrick, Aaron Folks.
Yep.
Like
can
Raekwon Lee, they got guys that can really hurt you.
Yeah.
And then that defense looks to be improved, but I'm curious to see how that defense is going to look, especially when you have to play a team like Clarkston, who's got an emerging freshman running back in Ethan Hodge.
Yeah, that just kind of happened, didn't it?
He went off for 102 yards and a touchdown in his first varsity start against Oxford in a 33-28 victory. So when you look at Clarkston, yes, Matt Miller's out for the year with an ACL, MCL injury.
That's tough.
And you don't have Hayden Temple at linebacker right now. So when you look at Clarkston, they're basically doing this with the makeshift roster right now.
Yeah, it's rubber bands, tape, and bubble gum.
That's what it is. But it helps when you have Rocco Spindler and Garrett Dillinger playing on the offensive line. That's also very important.
Run right behind those guys, yeah.
Yeah, then.
But if you're one-dimensional, we talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
You might be able to get away with that against Oxford, right? But other teams, you might not be able to.
I don't know if they get away against teams like Southfield. Definitely not against Adams or like Orion. You're going to throw the ball.
Solid defensive line that can stuff the run.
They rotate a lot of guys on defense. They rotate a lot of guys, especially on the line. They rotate a ton of guys.
But, yeah, you gotta have some sort of air attack as well.
You got to. And, yeah, they got a quarterback in Mike DePillo who can do that. But you got to find some receivers there.
Yeah.
Besides Miller. Now, Miller's out for the year. They've got to really
a lot of tough injuries, just, the injury bug. Well, it's this time of year, right? You're right in the middle.
You're right in the middle of the year.
And the bruises and the scrapes and the bumps and all that stuff are starting to, you're not healing as quickly. You don't have those, that enough off time to get your body right. So you're playing bumped and bruised. So, everybody's feeling it, though. You know that. Top to bottom. Everybody's feeling those aches and pains, but how do you respond to those, and can you put that out of your mind to next opponents in town?
Yeah, and we're going to preview that A&T Clarkson game coming up.
Yeah, that should be that.
That could be very interesting.
Yes, and I'm looking at it going, could this be the door on Clarkson's season being shut?
It could. We'll see.
Their margin for error, we said, is 0 now.
None.
They have to win every game.
And they got a very tough schedule. They still got to also play, besides A&T, got to play Adams and Lake Orion. Those are two not easy games for them. Let's talk Bloomfield Hills.
What happened?
They gave 60, A&T. And I just pulled this up. In the whole OA, the most points allowed this year has Bloomfield Hills.
I'm stunned.
They allowed 217 points. 217. And that is basically 45 points a game. That's rough.
Yes.
That is rough.
With Troy not scoring, I always thought that they would be leading that category.
Or Pontiac, maybe.
Or Pontiac, yeah. No.
It's Bloomfield Hills. Pontiac is second with 207.
Is what it says? Yeah.
Rochester with 197. And Troy with 194. And when you look at Bloomfield Hills' schedule, they still haven't played West Bloomfield yet. They have to play Lake Orion this week.
The tough part of their schedule is still looming.
They have to, those are those two teams. And my God, that's going to be, and it's Bloomfield Hills' homecoming this week. And they got Lake Orion this week. And Lake Orion's in a bad mood.
Yes, they are.
They're in a really bad mood.
Yeah, they're going to be grumpy.
Considering they lost an emotional 4 overtime game. Classic against West Bloomfield. Now,
when's the last time you saw a 4 OT in high school? I can't recall. Maybe 2?
They score 111 total combined points. It's the ninth. Tied for the 9th most in MHA state history. State history.
Top 10, wow.
Mm-hmm. And there was some controversy I'll get into in that game. Of course, O1 TV had a camera there.
Yeah, and it was an odd setup, right? Because the weather came back again and reared its ugly head Friday night.
And West Bloomfield had the radio station 89.3. Over there as well. Great
Very
radio
cool.
station.
Great student-run radio station. Fantastic.
So when you look at that game, a little bit of controversy late in the fourth quarter. West Bloomfield took a touchdown back when clearly Blaze Lauer's knee was down. It's clear on tape.
So explain the play. So you got the running back Blaze
Lauer, the quarterback on quarterback keeper.
He's tackled,
goes
down, ball
down,
comes
knees
out.
down, ball comes out. West Bloomfield recovers,
score.
scoop and score. That ended up changing the game around.
The momentum just completely
flipped. But Lake Orion went down and scored next drive, and it was 31-17. And
31-17. I was out of town.
Yeah, all they
had. I was sharing. So I'm learning about this right now firsthand.
It was 31-17. West Bloomfield goes down and scores.
Oh,
so they have all 3 timeouts left. Lake Orion was a half yard short of a first down to seal the game. Half a yard short. And West Bloomfield goes down and scores on an incredible catch by Ethan Bunch to get the game into overtime. 31-31, and then it just an instant classic from there.
So the Dragons are up 31-17.
Yep, with about less than 2 minutes to go.
31-17, you have to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
And especially with a team like West Bloomfield, we know what they have.
Yeah.
DJ Harris.
Well, obviously they put it on display in the last 2 minutes.
And then end up becoming an instant classic after that.
Yeah, wow.
Ended up becoming a
Do you think the delay, were there any other games delayed on Friday?
Besides A&T and Blueberry Hills played Saturday morning, and Aberdeen North Farmington played Saturday morning.
So did they start the game and play it fully Saturday morning, or did they start the game Friday night? Do you know?
They started the game Friday
nights, and then they were completing the games on Saturday.
Yep.
So, and the Dragons had some momentum at home on the Friday night before the rain delay in the third, right?
No, it was actually West Bloomfield.
So what was the score?
It was
I got
17-7 Lake Orion.
Okay.
Heading in the third quarter, West Bloomfield at the 5-yard line.
Okay.
The defense shut West Bloomfield down, forced them a field goal, so it was 17-10. Then Lake Orion went down and scored, made it 24-10.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, those delays, this is the second one this year.
The third one for Lake Orion.
Was it a third? Well,
third
Lapeer.
One.
Right?
Lapeer was
I
the
forgot.
first one. Adams at the power outage, and then this game.
Yeah,
So,
Adams never got going.
No.
So the whole game was, man, it's so tough. You look at the radar, you saw it was coming. Why didn't just
you could have moved the game early. You could have moved it earlier, like Clarkson and Oxford did at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because you knew it was coming.
Yeah, you knew it was coming. We
yeah.
also forgot to talk Oxford a little bit before.
Yeah.
When you look at Oxford,
Oxford Clarkston, correct?
Yeah, Oxford basically, that team is basically in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
They
close one with Clarkston.
Yep. And it's just they're in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, I thought Oxford had a shot at them.
They did.
And I didn't see the details of the game, but
it was 33-28. It was a good game. I mean, Oxford basically had a battle from behind most of the night,
which is difficult for them if they're one-dimensional.
Right, they're one-dimensional. It was 27-21 at one point in favor of Clarkston. Then they scored that touchdown, but couldn't get the 2-point conversion. Then Oxford scored, so it was a tight game.
Yeah, back and forth. It sounded like
tight game between those two teams.
Yeah, if you're a one-dimensional, especially if you're coming from behind, you want to extend the game, right? So if you get the air attack going,
and it looks like they might have did.
So it was sort of successful for them, but it wasn't long enough.
No, and especially because he could exploit their secondary and their linebacking core.
That's true.
So now,
crazy week.
Crazy week. My Sammy State blog top 30 this week. If you want to look at it, it's at SD46 at blogspot.com. I got West Bloomfield at 4, Oak Park at 5, Lake Orion at 7, Groves at 11, Adams at 20, North Farmington at 29. The entire team's in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
My top team in the state this week is Muskegon, 5-0. Chippewa Valley, number 2 after Pennsylvania against Macomb, Dakota. A lot of intriguing matchups this weekend around the state. When you look at, of course, you had Belleville taking out Dearborn Fortson this weekend. That's going to be a very interesting game there.
The Tractors.
Yep. But we're going to focus on the OAA matchups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course,
interesting games coming up.
Yeah.
And not only interesting games, but there's a lot on the line for some of these teams.
Uh-huh.
A win, some of these teams are must wins, or can they bounce back, or these
Or
momentum.
also
keep
teams
them
could go 6-0, make the playoffs.
correct.
You know, so if you're 5-0, you're looking really good to make the postseason.
Absolutely.
There's several teams. So let's look at some of these teams that are in pure desperate mode.
The desperation mode, yeah.
Let's go from the blue first. We're gonna talk a little first. Berkeley Pontiac. It's both 2-0-5 teams.
Who's and where's that?
It's at Wisner.
Okay.
So, do you think Berkeley could get out the schneid against Pontiac, or do you think Pontiac could go and pull off a big upset?
Well, I was wrong about Troy and Rochester by a country mile.
Pontiac's allowed 207 points. Berkeley's around in that 160 range.
I got to give it to Berkeley.
Yeah.
You know, I think
they got a quarterback in Hunter Kaising. They got a D1 recruit in Justin Anaganye.
Pontiac, you never know. I mean, being off a week, a little emotional week, you know, maybe they bounce back and
they're gonna be rested.
They'll be rested. They like we said, the aches and pains. Maybe they can get a little healthier. And maybe they have a cause to play for after the news of the day that shut them down.
Year.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's been disappointing for both teams.
Yes.
Really disappointing for both teams. North Farmington, Royal Oak. It's Royal Oak's homecoming this week. Do you see Royal Oak having a chance against North Farmington?
There's always a chance, but I think they're just too strong, North Farmington.
I mean, they're going to be 6-0. It'll be the first time since 1988. I mean,
Wow.
that they would be in the postseason at 6-0.
Wow.
I mean, it'd be the first time back in the postseason since 2013, since they were under Coach Todd Schultz, that they were 5-4 when they got in there. So 5-3, they play an 8-game schedule. So North Farmington, this is uncharted territory for them, and we both agree Royal Oak's got no chance.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that?
I'm
telling you right now.
I said everybody's got a chance. It all depends on your mindset going in. I don't see it being a complete and utter. Well, it might be a rout.
Yeah, it's
I don't
gonna
know.
Be
utter destruction.
Yeah,
just
gonna
roll
be
them.
utter destruction. But let's talk about the games that do matter in this division, and that's two of them. Ferndale and Allen Park. We talked earlier about this game. Ferndale sits at 2-3. They need this game, taking on a 3-2 Allen Park team. Allen Park, we mentioned earlier, last 2 losses by 2 points. You got a history with Allen Park during your days at Dexter. Talk about what Ferndale has to do against Allen Park.
Well, one thing, they got to come in with a good mindset, right? Allen Park teams are always pretty gritty, right? Hard-nosed kids. They play hard.
Considering Allen Park was down 21-0 last week and came back in that.
What does that say?
Yeah.
They got guts and they're focused. They don't just roll over, right? Those are the teams that I've never seen them just roll over.
Ferndale's got experience, but I'm a little concerned about their lack of depth.
Depth can get you, especially this time of year, like we talk about the bumps and bruises, right? If you come in a positive mindset, and is that their homecoming? You said
no, their homecoming was last week.
So they're coming off. That could be a thing too for them. It's like you're coming off the high of homecoming. You want to win that game desperately, right? And then you come into Allen Park. There could be a letdown, a little breather going. We're going out of conference.
That was Allen Park that lost.
Allen
Ferndale,
Park.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Well, who was?
Ferndale was on the road at Hurley. No,
Okay.
Ferndale was home last week against them. But I think that was their homecoming. Well, I'm not sure.
Okay, I thought it was. But anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, you got to come in with a positive mindset, and you can't say, well, since they're out of league, they're chip beef.
Eric Royals played a really tough schedule. You look at the teams he's played in the past. He's played Detroit Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
He's played Oak Park. He's played Warren DeSalle. I mean, and Allen Park is no gimme game. No.
I would say I could see this one being close, but I might give the edge to Allen Park.
Home field matter? Being on grass matter?
I don't think it matters.
I like the Jaguars in this one too. I think it's going to be, but Ferndale's going to fight in this game.
Yes.
They're going to fight in this game. I'd be really shocked if Ferndale goes into Allen Park and beats them.
Yeah.
But either way,
it's going to be a good game.
It'll be a good game. It'll be a really good game between those two.
And that's why, it's competitive, fun, exciting game, entertaining.
Let's go to another game that could be really interesting. Farmington and Avondale.
Yeah.
Farmington's beaten Avondale the last 2 years. I mean, last year they beat them twice, including one in the playoffs.
Can Avondale bounce back?
Can Avondale bounce back from their 42-12 loss to North Farmington? They sit at 3-2 in a real danger zone for them. When you look at the schedule, they still got to play. They got to play Ferndale. They still got to play Seaholm. I mean, they're in a dangerous territory themselves when you look at Avondale.
They have to take one of these next 2 games.
They have to take this game.
You think this is the one?
Because when you look
Seaholm, you don't think they have a...
Seaholm's going to be a challenge for them. I think Seaholm's going to be a challenge for them. I don't know if they can get in at a 5-4 record. I really don't know if they can get in at a 5-4 record.
Yeah.
And when you look at Farmington, they're red hot right now. I'm curious to see how the rest will help them. Could it help them or could it hurt them? Because they did not play last week. They're sitting at undefeated. They're a 5-0 team right now.
I can't see it hurting them.
Especially with that senior experience?
Yeah, well, that and you get healthy, you get an extra week to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you can't say that, hey, the game was canceled. You got to know on Sunday they got together and said, okay, we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Or Saturday night, here's what you're working on for the next game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rest.
It matters.
You cannot discount rest.
No.
But, this is an interesting game. You got to, with Avondale, their backs against the wall. They're kind of like that angry dog in the cage. What do you do?
Angry bee in the cage.
Yeah, or angry bee or whatever. Anything in a cage is not a good thing.
No.
So that's what Farmington's coming into.
Farmington's undefeated. They got a lot of competence, a lot of experience. And if you're Avondale, this is a game you desperately need. You need this game.
Yeah.
Who do you got in this game?
Oh, boy.
I'm going Farmington this game.
Me too, until I see otherwise. I mean, you got to give it to, 6-0 is 6-0.
Right.
Until you drop one, I'll go with the favorite.
I got to go with Farmington as well. It's going to be a tough task.
It's going to be a tough task, but I see this possibly being a one-score game, maybe 10 points max.
Maybe.
I think there's a possibility here.
It's a real possibility here. I think it's going to be a very interesting game between those two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go now to the white. Does Troy score a point this week against Groves at home?
It's come down to that, hasn't it? Just, are you going to score a point?
Are you going to score a point?
Can you get a field goal?
Because we know Groves is going to win the game. We know Groves will win.
Yeah,
I mean, will they score a point?
I want to say yes, because the odds of going scoreless through a season is so remote.
Mm-hmm.
At least in history. You say it's you know what I mean? I'm going to say...
You're going to say they score.
I'm going to say I'm going to say they score.
I'm going to say no. Because...
I mean, something's got to happen. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen doormats go up against championship teams, and the doormats can score at some point.
They got to score at some point. But
you get,
look at Groves. Look at Troy's schedule last 2 weeks. They got to play Oak Park and Groves. I don't see them scoring a point in either game.
There's always like a fumble or right when you got the team that knows they're rolling over the little guy. Sometimes the focus drifts, right? And we're talking. I mean, they could score a point with 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Getting bombed 55-0, and you get the
field goal unit out.
Right. You got the third stringers out there getting their experience, which is all these other teams getting experience against Troy, getting those guys out there, getting conditioned to varsity football. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting for that stuff to happen for Troy. I think maybe one stuff happens for Troy.
You think Troy's scoring this week?
Why not?
I'm saying no. They don't.
I go, man, the odds.
Odds are just not there.
You don't think so?
No,
the odds of scoring at least a point.
No, it's not there. Fortunately, it's not there. All right, let's go Rochester, Troy.
Yeah,
Athens.
Let's get off that.
Rochester, Troy, Athens at Rochester. Last season, Athens lost to Rochester 27-20 in overtime.
Ooh.
So this game's going to be closer than people think. Do you think the winner of this game, if Troy Athens wins this game, they're at 3-3.
Wow.
And if Rochester wins this game, they're at 2-4, heading into Lake Orion next week. So
I think Athens takes it.
You like Athens?
I think Rochester comes back to earth.
You like Athens?
Yeah, I do.
You know what? I like them too. I think Troy Athens, they've been beaten up the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I know they're going to be dealing with the Soldiers of Fortune this week. That's the name of their student section.
Oh, okay.
The Soldiers of Fortune this week.
I like that one.
I think Troy Athens goes in there and bounces back.
Yes, I think so
They're
too.
going to go in there and bounce back against Rochester. I mean, Rochester's got the third most points allowed in the OAA, 197 points. Troy Athens has been around the 160 range.
Yeah.
I know they gave up 60 to the A&T, and they've been very competitive.
I don't think Rochester's tacking 60 on these guys.
Rochester's going to attack 60.
I could see this, like you said, like last
it's gonna
year.
Be a close game.
Yes, I could see 27-20 like last year. I don't see overtime, but I could see something close, maybe 27-24.
Yeah,
something
I
like
see that too. I do see that too. I like
17-14,
17-14,
like
around there. I really do. I think that Athens will find a way to win that game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a game that has playoff implications. Oak Park and Seaholm.
Yeah.
Seaholm coming off a first loss of the year against Adams. Oak Park 4-1. Both teams 4-1. Do you think the Veer gives Oak Park problems? It's in the forest.
Well, we talked about
Seaholm's had problems. Oak Park's had problems at Seaholm in the past.
If that's the case, then I see Seaholm has a little confidence coming in.
You
right?
think Seaholm
They know they can hang with them.
They can.
Right?
And we know the Veer slows teams down.
The Veer can be, if you're not ready and you're not sound and everybody's playing home, it can
bite you.
It can bite you quick.
And we're gonna also talk Adams West Bloomfield as well, because that one got trap game written all over it.
But with Seaholm, do you see? I don't know. I mean, I think this is going to be a good game. I don't know if it's going to be as close as you think.
You got Oak Park.
I do.
I do too. I agree with you there.
I think Seaholm will hang for the
first half.
And maybe slightly into the third, but I think Oak Park takes over.
I think
in the third.
I think
rolls.
the lack of depth Seaholm has is going to come back and get him in this game. Yeah. I really do. I think Oak Park will win.
Oak Park. I mean, yeah, the Veer is one thing, but if you have talent on the other side,
tackle everything against the Veer. You tackle everything against the Veer.
And we saw that when they were here at Dragon Stadium.
Yep, you got to tackle everything.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Oak Park rolls.
Yeah. Oxford Stony Creek.
Creek.
We talked this one in full.
Yeah, I see. I'm liking.
It's Oxford's homecoming too.
I don't think it matters. Stony Creek is on a high.
Oxford's struggling.
They would love to bounce. I mean, you like to think they'd have some confidence after the Clarkston game, even though it's a loss. The Clarkston is not the Clarkston of old.
No.
Right? So if they were going to take them down, it had to have been last week, and they
Stony
couldn't
Creek,
do it.
Stony Creek they're getting better.
Yes.
They're getting better each week.
You got a team on the rise, and Oxford just kind of
stale.
In the middle. They're not sure what they are.
Yeah.
But I see Stony Creek going in there. Maybe it's a little closer than we think, but I think Stony Creek rolls out of there.
I got Stony Creek winning that game. I think it's going to be close, but I think I watch for a player named Nick Eckhout and Zach Denna. Those are going to be two difference makers in that game. They're going to have big games there. Let's talk Lake Orion, Bloomfield Hills. Are we going there?
What do we say?
Lake Orion's upset. Lake Orion's angry, losing by
Lake Orion, the angry freight train,
the angry dragon lair.
Bloomfield
Hills has been a place of horrors for them lately. I mean, they've lost the last 2 times at Bloomfield Hills, but this is a different Bloomfield Hills team, though.
It is, and it's a different Dragon squad too.
Yes.
Right. I mean, this team, we're seeing stuff that the Dragons are doing that we haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
Especially on the defense side of the ball.
Even on
the offensive side of the ball, and the way they went blow to blow with West Bloomfield, and they had a chance to take it, and they did not. Regardless of controversial call or not, you got to put that team away.
Yes.
And if you can't get a yard or 2 yards to put it away, that's the way it rolls. That's why you play the game.
Do you think Lake Orion bounces back in a big way?
Yes.
Blowout.
I don't know about blowout.
Because I'm seeing blowout.
But I would say they're going to handle their business, and they're going to do it in convincing style.
It is Blooming Hills' homecoming. Lake Orion blows them out big time. They blow them out big time. Let's go A&T Clarkson. This is a rematch of Week 1 game, 28-14 in favor of A&T. Both these teams a little different now.
Completely
different.
Because coming into the season, we're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good one. What? Clarkson went down. Now we know what Clarkston is.
Yeah, now we know what Clarkson is now. I mean, they survived 33-28 against Oxford. A&T's been rolling people last 2 weeks. Do you think it's Clarkson's homecoming? Do you think Clarkson has enough to pull off an upset?
No.
That says a lot.
I can't believe I'm saying it. But what have I already said about Clarkson? Go until I see otherwise. I'm picking them. I've seen otherwise since day one of this season.
You've seen Clarkson on. I mean, I've seen Clarkson on film. We've seen him.
It is not your typical Clarkson.
They're a young team.
Yeah, they're learning. They got some injuries, and it's interesting that they have this new running back though.
Yeah, Ethan Hodge, their freshman running back.
But that defense is letting up points like we have not seen in the past.
They gave up 28 last week. They've given up 64 to Oak Park. They've given up 28 to A&T.
A lot of points.
I mean,
yeah,
just way too many points.
Yes.
And
especially to a quality opponent coming in.
Now you're taking on an A&T team that's going to be just even more motivated because they're basically still fighting for the playoff life. They're sitting at 3-2 right now. Clarkson's 2-3.
They're 2-3 and fighting for the playoff life as well. You got two desperate teams coming in.
Yep.
I don't see it.
I
don't see the Wolves answering that bell and getting it done. I think A&T is. I think they're going to beat them. Maybe it's a little closer, but I see 2 scores.
I see it possibly being more than 2 scores.
Really?
I mean, I think Clarkson will score against A&T.
Yeah.
I don't trust their defense.
I don't see a shutout.
No, I don't see a shutout. I think Clarkson will score. But it's just Clarkson's defense has been just a complete disaster.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing going Clarkson's way coming in is they know A&T.
Right, and they have the line play.
Correct.
It's Spindler and Dillinger.
Yes.
And you have the younger Dillinger and Ben Haas there.
Yeah.
I mean, they got other pieces as well.
So
they rotate a ton.
You know what to expect. You know what's coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can analyze what happened in game 1 of what went wrong.
They had no answer for Raekwon Lee in that game.
So
they had absolutely no answer
for
Raekwon
they have an answer for him this time around?
They have an answer for Anthony Romp as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
Will they have an answer for them? So that's an interesting game there.
It's so wild. What would we say? Twilight Zone, man. This whole season is like a Twilight Zone.
Been a Twilight
but
Zone.
It makes it fun, right? There's other teams like, well, you got 2, the big 2 rolling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Not happening. I enjoy that. I think it's a lot of fun.
Let's preview Adams West Bloomfield.
Yeah. Interesting game.
This is an interesting game. Clash of 2 different styles. We don't know where West Bloomfield's at. It's West Bloomfield's homecoming this week, but we do not know where West Bloomfield's on cloud 9 after pulling off an emotional 59-52 win over Lake Orion.
Yeah.
Taking on Adams' team that's really struggled to find their way offensively. Adams in the last 2 weeks has only scored they've only scored 34 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which
that's
is surprising.
not like Adams.
No, not at all. That's very surprising.
But their defense allowed 13 points. That's going to change significantly against the West Bloomfield team that has a bunch of loaded weapons.
Well, 50-plus against that solid defense of Lake Orion, right?
But then Lake Orion put 52 against that solid West Bloomfield defense.
I know, but that's we're flipping the page here. They're going on the road. No, they're at home.
They're in the swamp.
Adams is
going on the road.
Right? So we know they can score, West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how high that score was with those 2 defenses. And it's just one of those, do you think the Lake Orion game was just a one-off? It was a fluke the way those points were just piling up.
It was not a fluke. Both teams are very good. Ron Bellamy said,
I couldn't believe the score, though.
Lake Orion is definitely his top 5 team in the state. That's what he said after the game, that Lake Orion was a top 5 team in the state.
I mean,
Adams they've been disrespected, because their only loss was to Lake Orion. They lost them by 5 points.
Yes.
So when you look at,
and it took some big plays to separate in that game to go away for the Dragons to take a W in that game.
Yeah, it took some big plays.
We're still running that replay. It was that good.
And then you look at Adams, and you're saying to yourself, the veer could be a big problem for this team. The last 2 meetings, it's been 4 points. Do you see a letdown from West Bloomfield?
No. Well, it's your homecoming. The benefit they have for motivation is it's your homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Homecoming gets you up.
Yes.
Right? The place is going to be jammed.
Mm-hmm.
All the celebration, all the stuff going on.
But you're playing a team in Adams who runs that veer.
Yes, and they're hungry. They want to. They got a lot to play for.
Yeah,
there's a ton.
They're
right?
4-1. I mean, they're going to be a playoff team. But when you look at the fact that we have been disrespected, we're still in this race.
Yes.
We're tied with Lake Orion in the league standings, but we're a game back of West Bloomfield. We got West Bloomfield this week. If Adams can go into the swamp and pull off the huge upset, it would send shockwaves around the state of Michigan.
That it would. It would. Okay, now you got me on the fence now, Sam.
Okay.
I don't know who to pick in this one.
I would take West Bloomfield safe bet.
Me too, but I would say it's going to be
close.
One score.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1-score game.
I'll give one score.
I've got West Bloomfield in this game because I think Donovan Edwards is going to be a difference maker in this game. I was surprised how, with Edwards at times, they didn't use him much in the Lake Orion game. But Edwards made an impact in that Lake Orion game last week. Adams has a guy named Anthony Petrino.
Yeah.
They have a guy, experienced quarterback, Carter Ferris. They have a freshman in Parker Pico that's made some noise.
A big receiver.
And you look, if it comes down to a battle up front, and when I look at that game last week against Lake Orion virtually dominated time possession.
Yeah.
They virtually dominated time possession. So it wasn't surprising that Adams had the same game plan that Lake Orion did.
Well, there's a roadmap there.
There is a roadmap.
But I would say one thing. Watching, what was the Lake Orion Adams game, was that 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Petrino, right?
Anthony Petrino.
Petrino, right? That he's a gamer, man. That kid, he was like the core of their offense. I mean, they focused on him as get me the yards, get me the yards, get me the yards. But he is beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out of that Lake Orion game at least 3 times, came in injured.
And the same thing with Carter Ferris.
Yeah, I mean, so
do you think the injuries have been the reason why Adams has struggled the last 2 weeks?
It could be. I mean,
they got 2 wins out of that.
I know, but what would he say? The scoring has kind of come back down, right? They haven't been putting the points up. They have, if their top guys that they lean on like 2-3 guys. If that's going to be the case,
that could cause
West
some
Bloomfield,
trouble.
And they ISO one of those 2 guys or 2 of them and shut them out. Take them down, take them out of the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Adams could be in trouble.
I think when you look at this game and you look at where Adams could expose West Bloomfield.
Yes.
And the running game could expose him.
I mean, Lake Orion was running.
Adams does not have a true back besides Petrino. He don't really have that true back.
Well, they're running him. They're throwing to him. He's so dangerous in so many areas.
Mm-hmm.
But again, boy, he takes a couple big hits.
Yeah.
And
West Bloomfield has some players that can. West Bloomfield's got some players that can definitely do some big time.
They're hitters.
I mean, they got a very good corner in Brian McCormick. I think he's gonna likely have the assignment to guard Parker Pico. They could put Makari Page on Pico. But
it seems like they've been using that guy a little bit more.
Yeah.
He is huge.
Yeah.
Good hands, speed.
But I'm curious to see what happens in that game. That game has me.
I still say 1 score.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be 1 score. It's going to be a heck of a game between those 2 teams.
Yeah. Let's see. That's at West Bloomfield. That should be
in
covered.
the swamp.
That should be covered.
88 point. I think it's 88.5 89.3
FM, yeah.
FM.
The student
that's
radio.
West Bloomfield student radio.
But video-wise, that should be recorded.
It should be recorded.
Greater Bloomfield media.
It should be recorded, that game, because it's their homecoming. It's a big game for I think it's a big game for both teams.
Yeah,
considering,
Oh, absolutely. The playoff.
Considering when you look at the playoff situation, how it's unfolding.
2 1-loss teams, right?
Yeah, especially how it's unfolding, could have big playoff implications on there.
Yeah.
When you look at the teams that all the OA teams are going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
When you look at the standings right now, who in your mind is it make or break?
For this weekend?
For this weekend. Who's got make or break this weekend?
Clarkson.
Why?
They have to win.
Why?
Then they're out. They're done.
I think Ferndale has it. Ferndale got to beat Allen Park. They still got to play Country Day.
Yeah.
They still got to play. Who do you think has the most to gain this weekend?
Ooh, good question.
Who has,
Adams, maybe?
I think Adams, yeah.
I mean, as far as public opinion goes and the polls and that sort of thing, but also confidence going into the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm,
they could take down West Bloomfield on the
they
road
got
at homecoming.
Too. They got Southfield, too. They still got to play Southfield. They got Stony Creek and Southfield.
Those 3 games are brutal.
You know what? I think when you look at a team that has the most to gain out of this, I think Stony Creek does.
I go with that.
If they could go into Oxford.
Convincingly take them down.
Yeah, convincingly take them down. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game there with Oxford on their homecoming. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
When's the last time every week we're like, this game, right? I mean, am I wrong?
No.
This season has been a blast.
It has
to
been.
cover, to watch and witness. It's awesome.
My final thoughts. It's going to be interesting to see what happens week 6.
Heck yeah.
If you want to take a look, my boys' soccer district preview is out on my blog at sammysemicolon@blogspot.com.
Can't believe it's that time of year already.
It's that time of year, starting the playoffs. So my volleyball,
volleyball
rankings are going to be out pretty soon. I got still Stony Creek, the top team, followed by Clarkston, then Lake Orion. So we'll see what happens going forward, and then Bloopy Hills as well on that rankings as well. So this is Sammy to me here. I'm going to sign off this week. Wish everybody best of luck this weekend. Stay healthy.
Get out and see a game.
Get out and see a game. We'll see you all next Monday. See you later, everybody.
Thanks, Sam. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Terramina. The views on this show are his and his alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast, call Orion Neighborhood Television at 248-393-1060. Classes are only $20. What? Come on in. Learn how to make your own podcast and get a show here on Orion Neighborhood Television. Get out and see a game. Cheer on those student athletes. Get outside, will you? It's still nice. It's fall in football. We'll see you next week on OAA Now. See ya.